Today we're going to be doing a 30-minute quick video on MCIS Junior, and we're going to start here shortly. And I am going to keep everybody muted today, keep us on track and get through this. It's going to go pretty quickly. I am recording it, so you should be able to view the recording shortly after. Maybe tomorrow, I'm going to say, not shortly after, but so you should be able to view the video again if you miss anything. And then at the end, after I'm done presenting, I'll open it up for questions. And if you want to ask questions, you can type those questions in the chat box, or you can wait until the end. So I'm going to start by showing you our Montana Career Lab webpage. And an easy way to get to the web page is by typing into your URL bar up here at the top of your screen. If you type in up there careers.mt.gov, you'll get to this page right away. And so that's just a real easy way to get to our web page. You can find all kinds of great resources here. There's resources for students, parents, educators, and job seekers. So you can click on any of those and get more information. MCIS resources is right down here, and that's where we're going to focus on our webinars. So we're going to be going to that screen. Click on that. And on this MCIS resource page, there's training videos up here. So if you're not sure how to log into MCIS, you want to know how to set up staff accounts, some other things, and we're going to be adding more things to these as we go along. And you can see the MCIS webinars that are coming up. We're testing out the 30-minute webinars just to see how those work. If we need to, we'll make those a little bit longer. And then there's MCIS publications. So today we're going to talk about the MCIS Junior Framework book and the MCIS Junior Workbook a little bit to start off with, and then we're going to go ahead and get into the MCIS system and show you around that a little bit. So to start off with, we're going to go to the MCIS Junior Framework, and to do that, you're just going to click on that. And then you would do View Publication. So this is a PDF version. It's available to download, so you can download it, print it. Just to start off with, I'm just going to show you a few things. We're just going to do kind of a high-level overview of these types of things. So I'm going to go down to page 7 of this framework book. And the framework book is great because it breaks out MCIS Junior into 3 different models. So there's model A, B, and C. And this is just an easy way to implement MCIS Junior with your students or clients. And just to introduce MCIS Junior, so to speak, the junior version is actually geared 5th through 8th grade students, and it's on a 5th grade reading level. Some schools use it for even younger students, so it just depends on how you want to use it. The Model A is for schools that have a strong classroom-based career planning and development structure. So A would be if you're using it a lot in your school. B is for chunking it up into different time periods. So B would be if you're going to use it not a lot, but it's sort of the middle ground, so to speak. And then Model C just assumes that you just have one shot at it during the year. And so it's going to be just the quick, here's what you need to do kind of thing. And it's just 20 activities. That's a little bit about different types of models. And then the other thing that I really love about the framework is if you go all the way to the bottom of this, which is on page, let's see here, page 14 and 15. 14. So this is a table comparison of the models with the activities. And so you can see, here's your model A, model B, and here's model C. And I really love this because Model A shows here's what you can do with your 5th and 6th grade students, and here's what you can do with your 7th graders, and here's what you can do with 8th graders. So it's just really a really good structured way of going through the system. And then there's B, which does 5th and 6th grade and 7th and 8th grade together. And then your C, which is just a single, that one-time shot that I was talking about. Okay, and then over here, it shows the different levels. So inside of MCIS Junior, it's all about who am I, where am I going, and how do I get there? And then there's these different activities that are within those sections. So things I like to do would be the first activity in the 5th and 6th grade. And then I'm going to move over to the MCIS Junior Workbook, which is also available. MCIS Junior Workbook, and the workbook is available to order for schools and agencies. You can order them by just contacting us, and we'll get those out to you. And these are available for your students, so you would give them to the students, and it would walk them through your program. So this is just getting started, the getting started page in the junior workbook. And so it just walks the students through a little bit on getting to know how to get around in the junior program. And here, after we talk about the workbook, I'm going to jump right into the actual system, so you'll be able to see this in the live version. So you can see that students can own their page. Their name will come up on their page, there and there. And then there's an activity map. And the MCIS Junior doesn't have every activity in it, just a good starting point to jump in at and use with your students, but it does not have every activity. So you can view the activity map and see those activities, and the workbook tells them where to go and what to click on. Then here it talks about, this is the Who Am I section, and these are the topics that are covered in the Who Am I section of the workbook. So things I like to do, qualities for success, important life events, and my accomplishments. So those are the ones that are focused on in the workbook. If we go down to the next page, it shows the things I like to do worksheet. So here's the worksheet that they can do. And then go down to the bottom of most of the worksheets have a thoughts and reflections area. So they can go in and they can type in, here's a list of the 5 things that I really like to do. And the thing to remember here is that there's a corresponding place inside of MCIS Junior where they will go in and they'll also type this information in there and save it to their portfolio. So we'll talk about that here in a second. And to get into the login for MCIS Junior, go up here to the top of the screen on our webpage, and there's the MCIS login. And this is going to take you to the portal page for MCIS. So it doesn't matter. There's different types of logins for MCIS. So we're talking about MCIS Junior today. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing a webinar on the high school version. So there's the junior version, the high school version, and the adult college version, what those look like. So when we first log in today, we're going to log into the administrative side of the system, is where teachers and counselors can go in and see all the portfolios, set up their student portfolios and stuff like that. So here's the junior version. You can tell you're in the junior version because of the green. And then here's the high school version. The high school version is red. Adult college version is an orange and kind of a teal color. So you know just by that where you're at. You can also tell where you're at right in here on all of these. It will say what site you're at. So say you're at Helena High. It's going to say Helena High School right here, or whatever your junior school is here. So if you don't have a site or you don't have a login, you can always contact us and we can set that information up for you. It's really easy and simple to do. We can help you with that. So just remember that. Go ahead and log into our junior version. All right, so you can see the green up here, Training Junior site. And so this is, like I said, the administrative side of the system. We're not going to get into that too much today. The thing you are going to want to find out more information on is uploading all your students into the system so that they have their name and passwords to log in. So that's another topic for another day, but we also on our webpage on the video section have a tutorial on that. So that's a great tutorial. So to get to the student side of the system, when you're logged in as an administrator or a staff person, you just go up here to the top of the screen where it says go to CIS. It might be hidden, so it might look like this. So there might just be a little tab up there at the top, and you're just going to click on that. And then you're going to click on go to CIS, and then that takes us to what the students see. So this is your own sample portfolio. You can do anything that a student can do. You can save it to your portfolio, and then you have a sample. If you're presenting to your students, you can actually go here and show them how to get to where they need to go and stuff like that. Just to correlate this with the workbook and the framework book, I'm going to show you a little bit about what I showed you in those. So we talked about the who am I, where am I going, and how do I get there. Those are the sections. If you're familiar with the high school version, you can tell right off the bat that there's not as much information in the junior version as there is in the high school version of the system. It's very pared down, a lot easier to get through because there is just a lot less information in here. A lot of awesome, great information also. So we talked about the activity map. So to get to the activity map, you just click here and go ahead and click on that. And like I said, the workbook following the activity map. So I'm going to click on that. This shows you the activity map. So here you can see who am I, where am I going, and then down here, how do I get there? And you can see there's a lot of activities in here. So like I said, the workbook only shows few things out of each one of these sections. So just so you're aware that the workbook does not cover everything. The little pencil icons just means that those are opportunities to enter their reflections like we talked about. So when we were just in the workbook, I showed you the section of the workbook that talks about the activity of things I like to do. So all they do is click on this things I like to do. So of course they would do that worksheet first, and then they would come to this page. And down here at the bottom is where I was talking about those reflections. So here's where they enter what are the 5 things I really like to do, and then what is the one thing you would like to learn to do. And they're going to save that information, and then it's going to be saved their portfolio. So once they do that, that information goes into their plan report is actually where you can view all of their reflections that they've saved. So that comes up as a report. So it shows you every section and what they've entered into there. Okay, so we're going to go over some information that you can find under the tabs. So on the Who Am I tab, there's the activities, and then there's also tools and informational assessments in this tab. So the tools under Who Am I, you're going to see ideas and the interest profiler short form. Now, I say you're going to see ideas, but ideas is actually what we call an optional component. So that one is a paid for of the system. The system is totally free, but there are a few assessments and different pieces that are actually paid for, mostly Peterson's products. And so we get charged for those, so we just have to pass on the cost. And I can show you where those are located when we're finished here also. Let me just show you the ideas real quick. So all of the assessments are pretty much set up in the same type of way. This one has 128 questions, but they're all very short questions, and they're going to do whether they like it very much, like it somewhat, they're indifferent, dislike. So they would click on rate the activities, and then they're going to go through and all hand tools, drill in the military, plant your own garden, and so on. So they're just going to go through and click on those and get to the end. And once they get to the end, they can choose what grade they're in. So this is available in the junior version, the high school version, and the college and adult version. And then they do submit. And I really like this one because it comes out in a really visual way, and I'm a learner, so I really like that. So you can tell that it is on the Holland codes. So we have realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. And then it tells you the high interest, average, and low interest. And then hover over these, you can actually tell what they are. So nature, outdoors, math, and then they can actually click on those and it will take them into list and of ideas assessment. Interest profile or short form, pretty much the same thing. Okay, so this one's 60 activities, same type of thing. They're going to put how they like it, going to rate those activities. And then this one comes out more in a reading version, but same thing. It's the conventional, investigative, social, artistic, and then it tells them their score and what that means. And you just want to make sure that they save all their information. So they're going to want to, anytime they do an assessment or anything in the system, just to be sure, make them click save. Because if you assign them something and then you go out to your administrative side of the system and you're not seeing anything in there, they probably didn't save it. Make sure that they're saving. So then there's a couple of other informal assessments in the Who Am I section of the junior, which are learning style survey and the employability skills survey. So then we're going to move on over to the Where Am I Going tab. So again, activities list. Here's the tools that are in Where Am I Going. So there's the career cluster inventory, reality check, which is very popular with the students. It's probably our most popular section in the whole MCIS system. And then there's the career clusters. So the career cluster inventory is the inventory, and then career clusters just takes them to a list of the career clusters where they could go in and they could look at the different types of occupations within that cluster. And then occupations, so same type of thing, A through Z list of occupations. They can go in and they can look at those, find out more information. As an example, I'm just going to click on one to show you what the occupation looks like. So here's what the occupation looks like. There's topics over here. What will the work be like? Where would I work? How much would I earn? Those types of things. So this is great. They can find out how much they're going to earn. Jobs will there be in the future? Real world interviews are actual interviews with different people. So it just goes through and it asks them questions and they tell a little bit about what their job is like. And then there's also some occupation videos that go along with that, so they could watch a video. So how do I get there? tab piece. And then on this one, we have checklists in the course planner. So checklists are really great. We have default checklists for the junior program, and there's actually checklists in the adult and the high school version also. And checklists are editable, and you can create your own checklists as well. So the checklists that are by default in the system are what we call the state default checklists. So you can see there's a 5th grade checklist, there's a junior workbook checklist that is just a checklist that follows the workbook, a 6th grade checklist, 7th grade, and 8th grade checklist. Okay. So if they're doing a checklist, you just say, hey, go to the checklist section. And if you're in 5th grade, you're just going to click this view button. And then it talks about planning 6th and 7th grade classes, complete the if I become worksheet. And so this is really great because it gives them a list of things that they're going to do, and then they just go down the list and do that. So they're just going to click on that, and then this little pop-up's going to come up. Make sure the pop-ups are enabled so that the pop-ups come up. And then it's just going to give a description. It's going to show the actual worksheets. And then it's going to have the spot where they put in their answer. So this one is, what are your career goals? Of course, you're going to want them to go through the worksheet before they put that in there. Then they save their information with a date. And then it's going to keep track of what they've done and tell if it has been met. So that's the checklist. And then the course planner. Not very many schools use the course planner with this grade level just because there's not a lot of different classes that they do. So, and the course planner is generally set up. You would give us your courses. We would put that information in there. We can match it with pathways. Um, so, 6th grade, you can match it with a pathway, and then it would actually populate what classes they would take. Or they can just go in and they can put in those classes and the information and keep track of stuff that way. But like I said, it's not widely used for the middle school version. So that's all that's in the how do I get there. And so then the last thing is the My Portfolio tab where everything gets saved. And the great thing that I really love about MCIS is the fact that they can start out 5th through 8th grade in the junior program, and then we can transfer their portfolios. And we're going to have another webinar this week on transferring portfolios. At the end of the year or the beginning of next year, you'll transfer your 8th graders to the high school version. And then if you have seniors in high school, you're going to transfer your seniors from the high school version to the college version. So the great thing about MCIS is that they always have access to it no matter how old they are. So it will follow them for the rest of their lives once they start using it. So in the My Portfolio tab, there's favorites. And here I just have a whole bunch of occupations that I've saved. So once they start doing things and saving those things, it gets saved into their portfolio. Then there's sorts and assessments results. So it will show all the different sorts and assessments. And this is it's going to be blank at first. So once they start doing these and saving them, then it will show up in the system, in their portfolio. So you can see those there, stored files and links. So there's also a resume creator within the system. So there's resume creator in all the different site types. So they can go out and they can create a resume, and I'll show you that here in a second. I'm not going to get in deep, but I'll show you where that's at. They can actually go out and add a resume. So if they already created a resume, they can do that. My files are files outside of the system that they could bring in. So just as an example, I brought in a completed things I like to do worksheet. So they the worksheet and you want to scan them and keep them in their portfolio, you can do that. Or some schools just have like a folder, they print them out and they keep them in their folder, however you want to do that. But the great thing about the portfolio is that everything can be saved in here. Okay, so you don't have to worry about dog eating your homework or any of that stuff. So then my links are outside links. So those would be like URLs to pages. So if you had a homework assignment where you wanted them to go out and research something on the internet, they could save that link to that here and get to it quickly. So those are the things under stored files and links. There's that career plan report that we talked about. And then here is the resume creator. So this is where they can go in and they can actually go through and create a resume. Then there's the course planner, which we already talked about, and the checklists. So that's just another spot where you can get to that information. And then there's also the combined report of assessments. So they can click on that. And here they have to do at least 2 different assessments to get this to come out. So you can see I have tons of them in here just because this is our training version. So I got lots of stuff in here. So they can include the most recent results of every assessment and sort, or they can include results that they select below. So I'm just going to leave it at that and click view the report. I like this because it narrows things down a little bit. So if they did the career cluster inventory, the ideas interest inventory, and the interest profiler short form, these 2 occupations came up on all 3 of those lists. So that gives you a pretty good idea that those are the types of occupations that they're really going to be interested in. And then it goes down to 2 on the list and then 1 on the list. And they can also order that by cluster, brings up the clusters. The little star just means that they have saved that to their portfolio. And they can also do that by just checking the box. So if they say, hey, this agriculture products graders and sorters sounds fantastic. So they can click on that and they can click save check. And then that's going to save it to their portfolio and it's going to put a little star next to it. So that's just a good way of being able to view that also. So that is pretty much the whole junior version in a really, really, really quick walkthrough. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up to questions. I'm going to unmute everybody.
Donetta,
Yes.
is the short form of the interest rating profile one that needs to be paid for as well?
No, the only actual assessment is the ideas. Yes. So let me go back to the web page. You can see what those are if you scroll down on this MCIS page. There are a few places where you can see them. Optional components here, optional components there. So you just click on that and it's going to bring up what those optional components are. So these are a yearly fee and students can use them as many times as they want. There's the Peterson's Practice Test Package 1, Package 2, and then here's the ideas assessment. Oh, there is a dependable strengths assessment also, so there would be 2 assessments actually. And then the civil service practice test. So those are some awesome that you can add on. But like I said, those are the fees for those, and we're just doing a pass-through thing on those, and that's what we get charged.
Is that per school? You can have as many kids take it per school?
Yes, absolutely, per school.
Okay.
Yep, there's no like per chair thing like a lot of places do, stuff like that. It's definitely a one-time fee per year. You can do like 2 years. You can pay for like 2 years and get a little bit of a discount if you want to, but that's just another option out there, but some really good tests and stuff that they can practice. Especially, for like the high school students to be able to practice those tests is thing. And I know there's some other places that offer it, so I guess it would just depend on what you're looking for.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Does anybody else have any questions?
If they don't, if they want to print up the junior worksheets, this is Mary Ellen. It is right there by the workbook where they can print out all the other activities.
So they can get the worksheets. This has all the activities, like Mary Ellen says. So, my section, where am I going? How do I get there? And then it has all the worksheets available.
And if people want more information on this, we would be more than willing to do some one-on-one training.
Yes, definitely. Is there a benefit in doing the junior workbook with 5th and 6th grade if they will not continue it in junior high, 7th and 8th grade? That is a good question. I want to say yes, because it just gives them an opportunity to explore and learn things. The the thing that I hate to see, though, is them not continuing on with it. So what we try to do is get the schools, more invested and have, if you're in elementary school working with the 5th and 6th graders, and then your middle school isn't using junior, gosh, put us in touch with somebody, or what can we do to help bridge that gap and just this continuing on, right? So that they get the most out of it is what I'm going to say. So just working closely together with the other parts of the school, and then, carrying that on to the high school and so on. So I just think that's really great.
It
So
it
if you,
it would be good. Even if they didn't go on, because at least you're exposing them. And then we also have two other programs called Career Heroes and Jacob and Emily. Those are other activities that they could do for career exploration. And those are free on our webpage. You can just order them. But I think any exposure is better than nothing.
exactly.
And you don't have to be connected. You don't have to have this activity, and then it should go and work with the high school. So it could stand alone.
So I'm just going to bring up our contact information again. So here's our contact information again in case you need to contact us, and hopefully we'll see you again on some of our other webinars this week. Let me just check these questions again real quick. Yeah, I think that's everything. So thank you guys for joining us, and like I said, hopefully we'll see you again on one of our next sessions. All right, thanks everyone for joining.